So welcome back to Moms, Moguls, and Mayhem. Very excited for today.
Woohoo!
We are going to jump into it. Today, the episode is about your time is now. Mm-hmm. And your time is now to launch whatever project, idea, product, business that you want to launch. So we want to motivate you guys to, push aside the fear. Stop saying, oh, I'll do it next week. No, you have to do it now.
That's right. The time is now, guys. And the bottom line is, even with our podcast, mm-hmm. It's like we could have waited until, we had a professional studio and producers and everything else.
Hair and makeup. Check out the frizz
today.
Yes,
hair and makeup. Hence the hat.
Okay. I love the hat.
Good vibes only.
I love that. Wait, I'm a bit formal. You're a bit casual.
That's
today.
right. It's our personalities.
A little different.
Feel a little bit different.
Yeah, but I love it.
Thank you. I love your vibe too. I love your shoes.
When I feel like a slob, I go, you know what? Let me just put a high heel on, because the reality is,
I'm not that way anymore.
When am I? Well, that's it. I don't.
Yeah, I used to be.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's like, I put on a pink pump and I'm like a different person. It's like an alter ego. I just feel like I could conquer the world.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, here we
are.
So
there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
So either way, I'm excited. So really our focus is, as Laura said, the time is now. Hence our podcast right here in Lauren's gorgeous foyer. Mm-hmm. We're filming it here because we were talking and meeting, and then we're just like, the time is now. Let's get the camera and let's do it ourselves.
That's right.
And here we are. So we are a living example
yes.
of what we're about to talk to you guys about.
And I think for everybody, it's sort of, taking that first step. Mm-hmm. You become nervous and say, oh gosh, I do want this perfect product or perfect outcome, but there is no perfection. So
that's right.
Just do it. Don't think too much. Don't get into your head.
Exactly. Really, it all starts with passion.
Absolutely.
That is step one. If you have the passion, you're literally halfway there.
So, we have really been through your entrepreneurial journey, my entrepreneurial journey. We're both inventors.
Yeah.
We're both founders. We're both CEOs. And even though, you had a product, I had a product too. We share a lot of similarities.
Agreed. You're an inventor. I didn't invent anything. It was a magazine. I invented my brand.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You're too humble. You're too humble. So, basically with my story, with Baby Soothe, it was about becoming a mom, a new mom, and mm-hmm. seeing that there was a void in the market. Mm-hmm. My son was born 15 years ago. And like so many parents, you're sleep deprived, people still don't talk about the anxiety that you go through as a new
it's a lot.
Parent, especially as a new mother.
Yeah.
The hormones, it becomes a little overwhelming. And so, the baby would cry incessantly, and the magic fingers came out. I said, intuitively, I felt like, you know what, I'm going to massage the baby, see what happens with that. And every night I would do it, it was like magic. And that was the light bulb.
Okay.
That was the aha moment. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, I didn't want to give the baby gripe water. I tried that. I tried medications. And so I felt like this would be a perfect gift for new parents that are sleep deprived, that are anxious, and are on the go constantly, and it provides peace in the house, which is so wonderful. So that was the start of Baby Soothe, and then it was a matter of pitching it. So because I wanted to create a prototype, and the next step was to pitch it to an engineer. So I worked in the baby space. I used to work for Scholastic for a number of years, and my father worked at Mattel for a number of years.
Oh, get out of here. Okay. Very nice.
Which was great. So anyway, through that, I was able to meet an engineer who helped me to create prototypes. So that was it. I, hit the ground running with the prototypes, because I knew as a new mom, I didn't want to manufacture the product on my own. I wanted to license it, because my love and I feel like my purpose is creating products that bring joy and happiness and create solutions for everyday problems.
Okay.
So I didn't want to deal with, shipping and manufacturing and all that.
No, that's
the
a huge
logistics.
undertaking. Exactly.
And then fast forward to 2019, I landed a deal with a company called Baby Brezza, who helped me
so exciting.
become nationally distributed.
That's right.
I really put myself out there on LinkedIn. I would go to events like yours. I was so grateful for those events because I networked and I met amazing people that really helped me along the way. I think that's so incredibly important. You have to push yourself, and as busy women and busy moms, it's easy to say, no, I think I'll pass tonight. I don't feel like going. I have a busy schedule this week. We've all been there, but it's imperative to really jump in and meet people and connect with people.
100%. I mean, networking is really the key to all of it.
Yes.
I'll give a little backstory on how Bella started.
Oh yeah.
I'll make it quick, everyone, because I could talk about it forever, but I won't.
No, don't make it quick.
Well,
go.
You know what? We have a lot of synergy in our stories.
Yes.
I think one massive advantage that I had that most people don't is that I had my husband as my partner.
Okay.
So it's not as though I was out there hitting the pavement by myself, where I felt like I was leaving them behind, like my mother-in-law, she watched my kids. And it was really
you had a great support.
Great support. So either way, Dan and I actually initially met in advertising, at Gray Advertising in 1998. And then we both left and worked at magazines. National magazines, and then Dan left first, and he went to be a real estate broker, and he opened up his own firm, and then I left.
Dan.
Yes,
good for you.
And that was a long time ago. That was in 2001.
Wow.
Yeah, so 24 years ago, and then
the time does fly.
Certainly does. You can see it all over my face when the Botox wears off.
Exactly. Thank God for Botox.
Exactly. And then I had Lindsay, so then I left, and then I worked with him for 10 years in real estate. And we had a real estate company, a mortgage company. It was just all this stuff. Wow. Then a friend of ours brought this magazine from Long Island over to us and said, you know what, guys, I could see you doing something, like this, but in Staten Island, Brooklyn area.
There was a void in the market.
There was a void in the market for anything health, beauty, wellness related. And so basically, thanks to our friend Matt, we actually, I really got the wheel spinning. And I was like, wow, I could really make this amazing and something local and something fun. And so I really started with a local focus in mind, which made it possible. If I started I'm taking on the world, I would have been still in my living room figuring it out. So,
right. One step at a time.
One step at a time.
You have to focus.
Exactly. And so we were let's just do a Staten Island magazine. So we put out our first issue, January of 2011. We were super lucky because, one of our writers actually got us an exclusive interview with Denise Richards.
Oh my gosh.
For the first issue. So I was like, this is crazy.
Wow.
So it was amazing. And from that one step where we were not on newsstands, it was literally Dan and I handing them out at local fairs and just offering free subscriptions for the first year and getting it out there. That's how we built it from just Staten Island to national and actually international too. We were available in hotels internationally, on airlines.
Wow.
So yeah, but it all started with that first step of you know what? Let's do something small and local and let it grow organically from there. And that is what happened with us.
And that, I think, is the hardest part, is the first step that you take.
Of course.
To me, for me personally, it's that leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And I think having that passion, if you have that passion like you do, and even talking about it, you can feel you knew you had something novel, you knew you had something unique and special.
Yeah.
And when you know that you have something like that you can give to people, I think that, forget it. I mean, it's limitless what you can achieve.
It's true. Well, when you believe in what you're doing,
yes,
it comes through. And that's what literally
absolutely
every single person said to me when I was out there. hustling, like selling ads to every single Staten Island business, like knocking on doors, incessantly
She
calling.
literally was. Like you were,
I was like
you were
a nut.
everywhere.
Well, you know what? That's how Dan and I started in ad sales, so I had to
She's
learn.
a great background.
It's
before launching a magazine. I mean,
exactly.
It was perfect.
It was perfect, but I had no idea how to be an editor-in-chief. So that I just kind of like learned along the way. It was a quick learn, but I learned,
But
and it was but I did it. So it's just taking that first step, and you never know where it will bring you.
Absolutely. And I think you touched on a good point too. I think what happens with people, and I know with women in general, because we're so hard on ourselves and we say, well, I don't have a background in X, Y, and Z. So, how can I launch this type of service or this type of product? And the truth of the matter is that there are so many successful entrepreneurs that have launched businesses and products that didn't have a formal education or background
100%.
in that particular field.
That's right.
And they learned, like you just said,
I learned, yeah.
And you're in it and you just go with it, and it's like self-education. You educate yourself.
That's right. That's right.
With myself, with a soothing product or a massaging product, I wasn't, a massage therapist. I, have no background in massage whatsoever.
Yeah,
I'm a marketer, business.
Exactly.
That was my background. So
exactly.
also, that's a misconception as far as you need this formal education to no. Don't let the voices the chatter start to, knock down your confidence.
Exactly.
So,
it's true. So I think that both of those are really inspiring messages of really super humble beginnings. I mean, Lauren was massaging her infant who was crying. I mean, that's as organic as it gets.
Yes.
And, I was just thinking of how I could better serve my local area in terms of bringing them, positive information. And what I also loved about it was that, I thought of the tagline, which I thought made our magazine unique. It was beauty defined by you. So even though it was beauty and health and wellness, fashion, celebrity, it's, it was the concept of like, I'm not telling you, this is beautiful, and if you're not wearing this, you're not. Like, it's like, here's an array of thoughts, ideas, concepts, and you define beauty in your life however you want.
I love that.
And I feel like that messaging, I loved giving that messaging for so many years, and it was great. It was great.
Both of us, if you really think about it, with my product and with the magazine, it was all about uplifting and helping women to feel empowered. Same with myself as far as, even now I feel like mothers don't talk about the postpartum. I mean, they talk about it, but it's still sort of taboo in some ways. And, helping women to feel empowered and feel confident and happy.
And you're not alone.
That's
the bottom line. I mean, we're not alone. There's millions of us all dealing with the same stuff.
That's right. So you don't have to suffer silently.
You don't have to suffer silently.
Yeah, right.
And what we want is to be here to be inspirational.
That's right.
And to give people advice.
Advice.
And to answer questions, which I really, I would love it if our listeners started, writing us questions.
Yes.
And we're looking to tackle that.
We want to engage.
Yeah.
We want to help people and motivate and inspire. And absolutely. So that is definitely on the horizon. We will
100%.
be bringing people in who are inspirational and, want to just know, how do I start? How do I start? So it's interesting. Basically, last week, because this journey, it's got, the ebbs and the flows, like everything in life. And you just have to roll with the good weeks and the bad weeks.
That's
I had a good week last week. I
Okay.
actually put myself out there in the last few weeks, and I was very active on social media, which is wonderful for a product or service. I mean, that's one of the real positive aspects of social media now.
100%.
Is that you can promote, so effectively. And so, I was promoting the Baby Soothe, and I was just on Facebook mom groups because I'm on all of these Facebook mom groups.
Okay.
And this mom wrote to me, and because I put a link to the video of the product.
Oh, good.
She said, and I basically said, I'm looking for a licensing partner. And it's, you're vulnerable, but I'm like, this is, I
gotta
moms,
say it.
But, and the moms, they want to help.
Of course,
they want,
of course.
These women want to help. So this woman wrote to me and said, oh, I work for this company and I think that you would be a great fit. So anyway, crossing fingers and toes, but, I had to get through, talk about fear and nervousness because it never goes away. So many of these super successful entrepreneurs, they'll say, I'm always scared shitless.
That's right.
But I just push through. And that's exactly what I did because, I started to read about who I'm meeting with, and it was like I was meeting with Jesus Christ. And
it's
you're
true.
You're like,
it's
oh
true.
gosh. And then the inner voice then starts with the, and I have to be prepared. But, you push that to the side and like, I'm an inventor. I have these patents. I've accomplished so much.
That's right.
And
you should be proud of it.
Well, that's it. So because we forget
that's right.
how far we've come. So anyway, I wound up pitching on a Zoom, and it was wonderful. And like I said, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But I was so grateful to this other mom who really saw that this product was special and she wanted to help, and that was it. So it was a great week. It was a great week as far as business. I don't know about kids. We'll talk about that at another time.
Exactly. That's another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode.
No, it's awesome.
Broken fingers and diseases. But
all the fun stuff.
All the great stuff that you didn't realize you were signing up for.
Exactly.
But it's okay.
Well, you know what, Laura? I think it's very, very true. I think a little tidbit I can share, related to that, the fear. I used to have such fear speaking in front of people. And people...
Isn't that like one of the biggest fears?
I hate it.
I think it's like one of the biggest fears that people have. Like they have these like Harvard, reports and research. But that is a major fear.
Well, I would be nervous that I would start talking too fast, that I forget what I'm saying, or I'd say like too much, or too much, which I've noticed I say way too much recently in these podcasts, but whatever, I'll work on it.
Just roll with it.
Exactly. But yeah, and I used to have
it's not about perfection.
That's right. Far from it. Always ask me to speak, when I ran Bella. At a Verizon International event, at a Google event, I was always like, oh my gosh. My initial feeling was to be like, no thanks. But I knew, if I wanted to grow my brand, I had to step out of my comfort zone and show up. I don't know how I did it. I look back now, I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I spoke in front of hundreds of people.
Wow.
And it was, and they clapped and they laughed, and I knew, if I could get them to laugh, then it would just ease up everybody. You know what I'm saying? So I always try to be funny, and when I get that first chuckle, then I just kind of roll with it from there.
And that feeling of after you've done it,
it's the best.
It's the best feeling.
Yeah, it's
because
the best feeling.
You feel like, oh my God, like it's $1 million.
$1 million. But you have to get through that fear in order to get to that feeling, know? So that's just another, main, a main point of all this is that time is now and you got to get through the fear. Those are the two first steps, I think, in creating a brand that will work and that will affect people,
Absolutely.
Like Lauren's product, is like literally helping households calm babies. That's major, and what we did was more of a part of, we employed a lot of people. We gave a lot of people, their first big break, say, and, so I feel very good about that. We impacted lives by, getting a lot of them started in the business, and many of them are still very successful today.
Well, to elevate women, to uplift women.
That's right.
I think that is such a tremendous accomplishment. And when you come from a place of wanting to help and do good, only good comes out of that.
That's right.
That's the way that I feel. If your intention is good and you're about helping people, then it's all good.
Exactly.
It's all good.
Exactly. In the end, it'll all be what it's meant to be.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
And so don't stress. It's not that serious.
And listen, you will feel vulnerable, because I know even with the podcast, to put yourself out there and to share your life, sometimes it's a little daunting.
Me too. Like I feel weird. I'm like, is anyone listening to it? Oh gosh. And it's funny because you know what? Like, it may not come through in like likes and comments, but everywhere I go, everyone's like, "Oh, that's great about the podcast." So people know.
I love that. I love it.
And they're super supportive of it. So
I think that's great.
I think it's great.
We're just trying to be real. I think it's about women feeling that they can relate, and not that there's this facade or I think we live in an age now that everything's filtered, everything is made to look perfect.
Exactly.
And there really truly is no perfection. It's about progression and about improvement, and there is no perfection at all.
So I think this was a great informative episode.
I do too, and I can't wait to engage with the audience. We have to.
Yes.
We got to get that
So
going.
what's a question? Like you want to ask everyone, and answer it in our comments, guys.
Absolutely. Well, what is your dream? What are you looking to launch? What is something that you have been thinking about for years that you just can't stop thinking about it, and you need guidance as far as how to get it out there, what to do?
Exactly. So what do you want to do? What brand, what product? And my question on top of that is, what is holding you back from starting now? Because the time is now.
Yes.
And Lauren and I are here to answer any questions, help any way we can, and just bring you along on our crazy ride.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think what's also important to say is that it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what place in life, what phase in life you're in.
That's right.
Because, you could be any age, have grown children, little children. We're always evolving and growing as mothers.
That's right.
We reinvent ourselves. I love hearing the reinvention stories. Those are the best, because it's not easy reinventing. Not easy. So
look at my outfit. Am I reinvented? I look like I'm hitting the Malibu beach.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I just definitely have a more chill vibe.
Calm sitting next to you. I don't need a bathing suit. I feel your beach vibes. I love it. We're ready for summer.
I am. So I'm going to be in Florida actually for the next few days. And I look forward to updating everyone on that when we film our next episode in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. I can't wait to hear about your trip.
Thank you.
I'm a bit jealous. I love you, but I am jealous.
I need a tan. It's time to go. I need a tan.
I love the west coast of Florida. But
me too.
Anyway, well, we are happy that we're here, and we can't wait to eventually get feedback and engage with everybody. And thank you so much for tuning in. We're excited, beyond excited, thrilled, elated that we can help you to bring your dreams to life like we did, and we're continuing to do so.
That's right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have an awesome week.
Have a great week.
Goodbye.